When does your discard start to impact the narcissist? The profound effect of your absence. Have you ever wondered if walking away from a narcissist truly affects them? Let's get real. Your absence doesn't just go unnoticed. It shakes their world in ways they never expected. Welcome back, everyone. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and share it with someone who might need these insights. Together, we're creating a community that understands the complexities of dealing with narcissists. Today, we're tackling a question that hits home for so many. Asterisk, when does your absence start to impact the narcissist? Asterisk, whether you were discarded or made the courageous choice to leave, you might find yourself wondering, asterisk, do they even care? Asterisk, the truth is, the void you leave behind is more profound than they'll ever admit. Stick with me as we explore how your decision to step away challenges their carefully crafted facade and leaves a lasting impression. You won't want to miss this one. When a narcissist discards you, or when you finally reach the breaking point and decide that you've had enough, it can feel like they've moved on in the blink of an eye. Perhaps you see social media posts flaunting a new supply or notice their sudden silence, as if they've erased every trace of your existence without a second thought. It's an incredibly jarring experience, leaving you questioning the depth of your connection and the authenticity of everything you shared. It might seem as though your time together was nothing more than a fleeting chapter in their story. However, this surface-level appearance is misleading. Beneath their outward indifference lies a far more complex reality. The absence of someone as significant as you creates an undeniable void in their life, one that they might not immediately recognize or fully understand. What's particularly fascinating about a narcissist's response to your departure is how quickly your absence begins to affect them. While they may project an image of being completely unbothered, their inner world tells a very different story. For a narcissist, the validation, attention, and energy you provided were not just perks of the relationship. They were lifelines. Whether it was your emotional support, physical presence, or simply the stability you brought into their chaotic existence, these elements became essential to their sense of control and superiority. The loss of these sources of supply doesn't go unnoticed, even if they refuse to acknowledge it openly. When a narcissist discards you, it's rarely because they found someone inherently better. Instead, it's usually because they've convinced themselves that the next person will somehow be easier to manipulate, less demanding, or more willing to cater to their needs. This belief often stems from their superficial and transactional view of relationships. Narcissists don't assess people based on their intrinsic qualities or genuine compatibility. They measure others by what they can extract, whether it's admiration, status, or resources. This shallow evaluation, while serving their short-term needs, often leads them into situations that backfire. What they fail to realize is that true connection and genuine support cannot be replicated or replaced as easily as they imagine. In the immediate aftermath of your departure, a narcissist may try to convince themselves, and anyone else who will listen, that they've upgraded to someone more suitable. They might go out of their way to showcase their new relationship, posting exaggerated displays of happiness or highlighting aspects of their life that they know will sting. But this is often a smokescreen designed to mask the discomfort they're feeling inside. Without the steady flow of supply that you once provided, they start to experience a form of withdrawal, even if they don't fully recognize it. The attention they seek from a new source might provide a temporary high, but it lacks the depth and reliability they've come to rely on. This is where the cracks in their facade begin to show. Narcissists often overestimate their ability to replace significant people in their lives. Their inflated sense of self leads them to believe that new supply will seamlessly fill the gap, offering the same level of validation and support. However, as time goes on, they frequently discover that this isn't the case. The new supply may not live up to their expectations, or they might start to realize that the dynamic isn't as effortless as they'd hoped. This realization can be jarring for a narcissist who thrives on control and predictability. When the new relationship fails to deliver the same sense of stability or admiration, they're left grappling with a growing sense of dissatisfaction. For you, witnessing this process can be both painful and enlightening. It's natural to feel hurt by their apparent indifference and quick replacement of you, but it's crucial to understand that their actions are not a reflection of your worth. Narcissists operate on a different emotional wavelength, one that prioritizes their own needs above all else. Their inability to value others for who they truly are often leaves them trapped in a cycle of dissatisfaction and unfulfilled relationships. This pattern is a direct consequence of their shallow approach to connections, an approach that inevitably fails to provide the depth and meaning they secretly crave, but can never fully grasp. The thrill of acquiring a new supply often brings a narcissist a fleeting sense of excitement. It's a rush, a temporary high that gives them the illusion of having upgraded or moved on seamlessly. But beneath this superficial layer of euphoria lies an emptiness they cannot fully articulate. The excitement they feel is fragile, shallow, and entirely dependent on the novelty of the new person. As this initial spark fades, they begin to notice what's missing. Slowly but surely, it dawns on them that the new supply doesn't match the depth, support, and stability you once provided. This realization rarely gets them all at once. Instead, it creeps up on them like a shadow, growing heavier as their new supply inevitably falls short of their ever-escalating expectations and insatiable needs. The truth is, narcissists don't miss you in the way most people think of missing someone. They don't pine for you because they loved you or truly valued you in a reciprocal, healthy sense. What they miss is the role you played in their orchestrated narrative. You weren't just a person to them. You were a vital source of validation, a consistent provider of admiration, and an anchor of emotional energy. Without you, their carefully curated world starts to unravel. Things feel less vibrant, less predictable, and far less under their control. The absence of someone who once centered so much of their emotional supply leaves a void that is hard to ignore, even if they are unwilling to admit it outwardly. Even when they secure a new replacement, the inadequacy of their choice becomes glaring over time. The new supply, no matter how eager or accommodating, often lacks the unique qualities they took for granted in you. This is especially pronounced if you were what is commonly referred to as grade a supply. Unlike surface-level admirers who only feed the narcissist's ego, grade a supply offers a deeper connection, emotional depth, unwavering support, and perhaps even a sense of grounding that the narcissist depends on more than they realize. While they may have dismissed your contributions as routine or expected during the relationship, your absence forces them to confront just how integral you were to their sense of stability and importance. For narcissists, timing plays an intriguing role in how they feel your absence. For some, the void you leave is immediate. The moment they no longer have access to you, whether because you walked away or they discarded you, the gap in their life becomes glaring. They may not show it on the surface, but the loss of their primary source of validation sends ripples through their emotional world. For others, the impact takes longer to set in. Weeks or even months may pass before they fully grasp what they'd lost, often because their focus is initially consumed by the novelty of their new supply. But eventually, reality catches up with them. The new person, despite their best efforts, cannot meet the narcissist's relentless demands or replicate the dynamic you once shared. It's important to understand that this failure on the part of the new supply isn't due to any inherent flaw in them as a person. Rather, it's because they are not you. The unique qualities you brought into the narcissist's life cannot be duplicated, no matter how hard the narcissist tries to mold their new supply into a similar role. The emotional depth, the patience, and the unwavering support you provided were tailored to the person you are, something no one else can easily replicate. This realization, even if subconscious, begins to gnaw at the narcissist over time. As the narcissist becomes increasingly dissatisfied with their new supply, their mind often drifts back to you. They may start to romanticize the past, conveniently forgetting the reasons the relationship ended or the harm they caused. This selective memory is a coping mechanism, one that allows them to avoid taking responsibility for their actions while simultaneously yearning for what they once had. They may not explicitly acknowledge the role you played in their stability, but the discomfort they feel without you speaks volumes. Whether they realize it immediately or it takes time for the truth to set in, one thing becomes clear: your absence leaves a mark that cannot be easily erased. This is where the narcissist's greatest weakness comes into focus. Their inability to form deep, meaningful and reciprocal connections means they're perpetually chasing an illusion, an ideal of validation and admiration that they can never truly hold on to. They crave the high of feeling important and valued, but they lack the emotional capacity to appreciate or nurture the people who provide them with this sense of worth. It's as though they are forever reaching out for something, yet their hands are incapable of grasping it in a way that brings lasting fulfillment. This endless pursuit leaves them in a state of emotional hunger, always looking for the next source of validation while remaining blind to the damage they leave in their wake. Once you've removed yourself from their grasp, their reaction often speaks volumes. You might notice a surge of activity on their part, a desperate, almost frenzied attempt to project an image of happiness and success. They may post excessively on social media, flaunting a new relationship, exciting adventures, or a seemingly perfect life that's curated to make you think they've effortlessly moved on. Every smile in a photo, every boastful caption, is not an expression of genuine joy, but a calculated move to maintain control. They want to craft a narrative where they appear unbothered and thriving, but beneath this facade lies an unmistakable void. At the same time, they may try to engage with you indirectly. Instead of reaching out to you directly, they might use mutual friends, shared acquaintances, or subtle gestures to insert themselves into your awareness. This could look like leaving comments on mutual friends' posts, sending vague messages that seem intended to provoke curiosity, or finding other ways to ensure you notice their presence. None of these actions stem from genuine happiness or a desire for closure. Instead, they are rooted in their need to confirm their lingering significance in your life. The narcissist doesn't necessarily want you back. They want to know they still occupy your thoughts and emotions. This obsessive need to remain relevant stems from their fragile and inflated ego, which requires constant affirmation to feel secure. Even after you've walked away, they can't let go of the idea that they should still matter to you. They want to believe they hold enough power to provoke a reaction, to disrupt your peace, or to remind you of the role they played in your life. This need for significance isn't about love or loss. It's about control. They want to feel that even in your absence, they retain some measure of influence over you. But here's the most important thing to remember. While your absence may create turmoil for the narcissist, it is also your greatest source of empowerment. By choosing to step away from their toxic influence, you are reclaiming your time, your energy, and your sense of self-worth. Every moment you spend apart from their manipulation is a step towards healing and rediscovering your own strength. While they may struggle with the void left by your departure, their struggle is not your responsibility. You do not have to carry the weight of their inability to process loss or their need for constant validation. Breaking free from a narcissistic relationship is not simply about understanding their behaviors or motivations. It's about prioritizing your own well-being. It's about shifting the focus from them to you, allowing yourself the space to heal, grow, and rebuild. When you choose to prioritize your own needs, you break the cycle of manipulation and regain the control they once held over you. It's in this space of self-prioritization that you find clarity, peace, and the ability to thrive without their influence. The narcissist might continue to act out, projecting an image of happiness or attempting to lure you back into their orbit, but their actions lose their power when you focus on yourself. The energy they once drew from you now fuels your own growth. Every boundary you set, every step you take toward healing, and every moment of self-reflection moves you closer to a life that's free from their grasp. Your absence forces them to confront their emptiness, but more importantly, it allows you to fill the spaces they once occupied with self-love, peace, and resilience. As you move forward, you begin to see that healing is not just about leaving the narcissist behind. It's about stepping into a version of yourself that's stronger, wiser, and more aligned with your own truth. The space you create by walking away is not a void, but an opportunity, a chance to rebuild your life on your own terms. While the narcissist continues to struggle with their inability to hold on to meaningful connections, you thrive in your newfound freedom, proving to yourself that you are far more powerful than they ever wanted you to believe. Thank you so much for staying with us through this exploration of how your absence impacts the narcissist. If you found this discussion insightful, please give this video a like, share it with someone who might need it, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Your support means the world to us, and we're so grateful to have you as part of our community. Until next time, take care of yourself and remember, you are stronger than you know. Narcissists are demons in disguise. How God reveals their true nature. Have you ever felt the unsettling presence of a narcissist, someone who seems charming, alluring, and even powerful, only to later realize that beneath that mask lies something dark and sinister? It's as if they are an enigma wrapped in mystery, creating confusion and pain wherever they go. It's not just a feeling, it's a truth that many have come to recognize. Narcissists can be seen as demons in disguise, with an ability to manipulate and destroy lives, leaving chaos in their wake. But the deeper question remains, how does God reveal their true nature? Is there a higher force at play, uncovering the darkness within these individuals? The truth is far more profound than we may initially understand. In this video, we will explore how narcissists operate, the harm they cause, and how divine insight can reveal their true nature. Their behavior isn't just a psychological disorder. It can often be seen as something far more spiritual in nature. Many individuals who have encountered narcissists feel as though they were manipulated by a force greater than the person they thought they knew. Understanding the spiritual dimensions of narcissism, how it connects to demonic energy, and the way God unveils the truth is essential in navigating interactions with these toxic personalities. Before we dive deep into the topic, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone who might need this insight. As we explore the deeper connections between narcissistic behavior and spiritual warfare, this could be the revelation someone has been waiting for. So grab a seat and let's begin uncovering the layers of this complex issue. When we think of narcissists, the first image that often pops into our minds is one of someone who is self-absorbed, excessively preoccupied with their own image, and constantly seeking validation from others. While this image isn't entirely inaccurate, it only scratches the surface of what a narcissist truly is. Beneath this seemingly superficial exterior lies a far more complex and often destructive personality. At their core, narcissists are individuals who rely on external sources of admiration to prop up their fragile sense of self-worth. They need constant praise and approval to maintain their illusion of perfection, but this is not simply about vanity. It's about a deep insecurity that they desperately try to hide. What's often overlooked in this portrayal is the narcissist's ability to manipulate and control others. This ability is often cloaked in a veneer of charm and charisma that can be almost magnetic. Narcissists have a way of drawing people in, making them feel special, seen, and important. They present themselves as the perfect partner, friend, or colleague, effortlessly captivating everyone around them with their dazzling personalities and apparent confidence. For a time, it can feel like they are exactly what we need, like they are the missing piece to our lives. But, as is often the case, cracks begin to appear. Their true nature starts to show through, and what once seemed like a perfect relationship or connection starts to feel hollow, even draining. At the heart of narcissism is an insatiable hunger for admiration and external validation. This need is not a passing desire, but a driving force that shapes their every move. The narcissist will go to great lengths, even manipulating and exploiting others, to maintain the facade they've built. But behind this need to uphold their image lies a deep-seated insecurity, a fear that they are unworthy, inadequate, and inferior. These vulnerabilities are buried beneath layers of manipulation, emotional abuse, and deceit, making it hard for others to see the true self beneath the mask. While they often project an image of confidence, superiority, or even godlike qualities, the reality is that these individuals are spiritually bankrupt. Narcissists are disconnected from their authentic selves, and this disconnection leaves them feeling empty. To fill this void, they manipulate and control others, using them as a source of validation to temporarily stave off their feelings of inadequacy. This is where things begin to take a more spiritual turn. If you've ever found yourself in the presence of a narcissist, there's often something that feels off about the situation. It's more than just their erratic or controlling behavior. It's a sense that something is dark lurking just beneath the surface. This feeling isn't just a product of our imagination. It's an intuitive response to the toxic energy that narcissists often emanate. There is something inherently destructive about narcissism, something that mirrors the qualities of demonic forces. Deception, manipulation, control, and destruction seem to follow them wherever they go. The narcissist may appear to be an angel in disguise, seemingly perfect and benevolent on the outside, but underneath, their actions are driven by a desire to corrupt, degrade, and ultimately destroy. While they may seem charming and alluring at first, their true nature is far darker. If narcissists are, in essence, demons in disguise, the question then becomes, how can we recognize their true nature? How can we see past the facade they so carefully craft? The answer, often, lies in spiritual discernment. Spiritual discernment is the ability to look beyond surface-level appearances and to perceive the deeper motivations that guide a person's actions. It's easy to get swept up in the narcissist's charm and charisma, to buy into their promises and their image of perfection. But spiritual discernment allows us to see the cracks in their facade and to recognize the underlying darkness that drives them. It's through this lens of discernment that we can start to untangle the web of manipulation and deceit that narcissists weave so skillfully. One of the most powerful gifts God gives us in this process is intuition. Often, when we are around narcissists, We can sense that something isn't right, even if we can't quite put our finger on it. It's a feeling of unease, an emotional discomfort that we can't explain. We may feel anxious, drained, or confused in their presence, but we don't know why. This intuitive sense is a gift from God, a signal that we are in the presence of something toxic, something that seeks to harm us. It's not always easy to trust our intuition, especially when the narcissist's charm is so powerful. But learning to listen to this inner knowing can be a crucial part of protecting ourselves from their influence. As we go through life, God provides us with countless opportunities to learn and grow. Narcissists often come into our lives at pivotal moments, not just by chance, but as a way of teaching us valuable lessons. These lessons are often difficult and painful, but they serve to strengthen us spiritually. When we find ourselves faced with the narcissist's manipulation and deceit, it's an opportunity to learn about the importance of boundaries, self-worth, and spiritual growth. God's presence in these moments reminds us of the need to protect our energy, our spirit, and our emotional well-being. Through these painful experiences, we develop stronger discernment, learning how to spot the subtle energies of others and how to safeguard ourselves against the harmful forces at play. Another way that God reveals the true nature of narcissists is through the consequences they eventually face. While narcissists may seem to skate by for a while, seemingly untouched by the destruction they leave in their wake, the truth is that their actions inevitably catch up to them. Their manipulations and abuses might seem to have no immediate repercussions, but God's justice is always at work. Whether it comes in the form of broken relationships, a loss of power, or divine retribution, narcissists cannot escape the consequences of their actions forever. They may believe they can outsmart the universe or evade the truth, but eventually their actions will have consequences. In time, the mask will slip, and they will be exposed for who they truly are. This is the divine law at work. God's justice will always prevail, even if it takes time for the truth to come to light. Narcissists may appear invincible, as though they are above the natural law of cause and effect, untouchable by the consequences of their actions. To those of us caught in their web, it can feel like they are immune to any sort of justice or reckoning. This illusion of invulnerability is where the concept of spiritual warfare enters the picture. When we become entangled in relationships with narcissists, we are often unknowingly pulled into a battle that goes far beyond the physical or psychological. This is not just about emotional manipulation or control over our actions. It is a deeper, more insidious struggle for control over our very spirit. The narcissist's tactics go beyond hurting us emotionally. They aim to diminish our very essence, to drain the light from within us, to make us feel insignificant and small, and to strip away our sense of self-worth. This struggle, however, is not just psychological or emotional, it is fundamentally spiritual. Narcissists employ a variety of manipulative and controlling tactics that mirror the behaviors of dark and destructive forces. These behaviors are designed to target the most vulnerable aspects of who we are, our desires for love, acceptance, and validation. They exploit our natural human need for connection and understanding, using it against us to gain control over our thoughts, feelings, and actions. It's this deeply spiritual dimension of narcissism that makes it so perilous and dangerous. Dealing with a narcissist is not merely about setting boundaries with someone who is emotionally manipulative. It is about protecting our soul from being consumed by their toxic and draining energy. They do not just want to control our actions. They want to control our very essence, to take away our sense of who we are, and leave us in a state of emotional and spiritual decay. In the face of this kind of spiritual attack, It is crucial that we recognize that God provides guidance in many forms to help us resist and fight against these negative forces. One of the most important tools we are given in this battle is the power of prayer. Through prayer, we are able to seek divine strength and clarity, asking for protection from the narcissist's toxic energy. Faith is another essential tool in this battle. It is through our faith in God and in the belief that He will guide us that we are able to find the courage to walk away from these toxic relationships. We must understand that the narcissist's actions are not just personal attacks on us. They are attacks on the divine plan for our lives. Narcissists seek to keep us trapped in cycles of fear, confusion, and self-doubt, preventing us from fulfilling the purpose that God has laid out for us. But God's light is always present, illuminating the truth and helping us to see these individuals for who they really are, beyond the charming facade they project. One of the most profound truths about narcissistic behavior is that no matter how much they try to manipulate, deceive, or charm their way into our lives, narcissists cannot escape who they truly are. They can put on the most convincing act, trying to maintain an image of perfection and invincibility, but deep down they are running from their own inner truth. No matter how much they try to convince themselves or others that they are something they are not, the darkness within them will eventually surface. This darkness will always manifest in their abusive behavior, their inconsistency, or their eventual downfall. The narcissist may try to outrun their true self, but they can never fully escape it. It is this truth that eventually catches up with them, as the emptiness and despair they carry inside will inevitably emerge in destructive ways. The life of a narcissist is marked by a constant battle against their own inner demons. While they may attempt to mask their shame, insecurities, and vulnerabilities with a facade of superiority, these feelings are always present, haunting them from within. It is this deep emptiness that drives them to seek out power, control, and validation from others. They seek to manipulate and dominate those around them to fill the void they feel inside. But no amount of manipulation, charm, or control can ever truly fill that void. It is a spiritual emptiness, a hole in their soul that can never be healed by external means. They may try to fill it with praise, admiration, or dominance over others, but nothing can satisfy the deep longing they have for true healing and wholeness. Ultimately, it is only through self-awareness and divine intervention that this emptiness can be addressed. But narcissists often reject these paths of healing. They refuse to confront the truth of their inner emptiness and instead continue to seek external validation in an endless cycle of manipulation and destruction. This constant internal struggle, the clash between their desire for control and the emptiness they cannot escape, defines the narcissist's existence. They are forever running from their own soul's truth, but in the process, they leave a trail of destruction behind them. For those of us who find ourselves caught in their web, it is essential to remember that we are not just fighting a battle on the surface level. It is a spiritual war that requires divine strength, discernment, and the protection of God's light. Only through these tools can we shield ourselves from the toxic energy of the narcissist and prevent our spirits from being consumed by their darkness. In conclusion, narcissists are not just difficult people to deal with. They are a reflection of darker spiritual forces at work in the world. By understanding how God reveals their true nature, we can better protect ourselves from their toxic influence. Through discernment, faith, and the strength to walk away, we can free ourselves from the manipulation and control they seek to impose. If you found this video